Hello folks, I wish the camera was a bit higher, but it isn't, so we've got an HMV Stereomaster 2411. So the 2411 and the 2412 look identical. Let's move the camera across. You will notice, as on this version, it has a stereo transmission beacon light for the decoder when the stereo transmission present. And both the 2411 with the mono radio, which is this one, and the 2412 with the stereo radio have that. That's because this 2411 was upgradable at the time to add the extra board with the decoder. And so it's confusing because they all look the same. So just be aware that the 2411 is a mono radio, the 2412 is the stereo radio. And I've done this since 1979, and I've never seen an added decoder. So it doesn't look like many people bothered. And you might think it's bizarre. There was a £15 difference in price. I think these were £85 as opposed to £100, you know, £99.99. And at the time, only BBC Radio 3 was broadcasting in stereo, and then it was only a couple of programmes a week of some posh orchestra. Eventually Radio 2 started broadcasting stereo. But you know what? Radio 1 didn't start broadcasting in stereo until the mid-1990s because they were on medium wave AM. So that's why, if you weren't going to listen to really posh music on Radio 3, what was the point of paying £15 extra for the stereo radio? So there you go. And we will take the lid open. I think this has been in a cigarette house. Look at the colour of that lead. That plug's going to need changing because it doesn't have the sleeve pins. Let's just open that up. It's probably got a 13 amp plug on it, but I might be... This was an eBay purchase and I picked it up from this side of Sheffield. It wasn't that a million miles from a place called Halfway, which is kind of halfway between Worksop and Sheffield. So it's I'm not going to say it's ex-bereavement, but the owner is now in a nursing home. So we've got a 13 amp fuse, and that doesn't help us. But just for now, because we've got everything here is fused at 3 amps, I can run it like this until we get a new plug on it. So we'll be doing the capacitors, we'll be doing the turntable. And they said last time it was powered up some years ago, the radio worked but the turntable didn't. So we won't be powering it up till we've done the capacitors. So I'm going to just open up the lid. This has the manual spindle still in its clips. It's got the auto spindle there. It's got a, a gold ring replacement stylus, and we've got it looks like it's still in the thing. That might be a new one. We'll find out, won't we? I've locked it down for transit, but the arm was still dangling all over the place, and that won't have done either the stylus or the cartridge any good at all. It's still set at 4 point something, which is, you know, you'd expect. And it's got the DIN lead where they've had a tape recorder plugged in. And I noticed that's 5 pinned in to 3 pinned in. So that was a mono tape recorder. And that plugs into the DIN socket, which is bi-directional. You'll notice that's selectable on the control panel from the tape if you're playing through this system. And when it says auxiliary, that is for the little 3.5mm jack, which is a mono 3.5 jack, and they're expecting you to be plugging in an HMV mono transistor radio, so you can receive medium, long wave, short wave, because these are FM only, and it's at line level. So people think, oh, it's got a 3.5mm jack, I can plug my Z phone or your walk thing. I've got Simon here today. I'm trying to think.
Walkmans or
those
iPhones, that sort
all
of
that kind of rigmarole in.
Yeah.
Well, you can't.
But they'll only get one channel.
You get one channel, and it's not what it's intended for because they're speaker output, aren't they? Anyway, there we go. So the first thing we'll do is we'll get it on its side and we'll take the bottom off. So we've got this on its side, as you can see, and we've withdrawn the chassis. All that you have to do is to take that and that out, and because this was also available as a tuner amplifier, because this was available as a tuner amplifier, it's in a chassis which resembles a tuner amplifier, and that's where we are with it. So let's have a look. What are the transistors on these? AD143, and we've got the radio tuner that side, and we've got the tone control and all that on this side. These are harder to work on because it's on a proper chassis, so we've got to take this kind of heatsink bit off. So there we go. I will be changing all the capacitors that we know need changing, and the naughtiest ones, probably the only ones that want changing, are the power supply and these ones on the actual amplifier panel. I might change, I think on this board, I don't think we're going to bother with the smaller ones. I don't know, I'm thinking on my feet here, because I can see those orange ones are a make that haven't proved to last, so we will be changing them all, but it's quite difficult to get to this. That definitely has to go. That's an awful make. You don't have the stereo decoder, as I said earlier, and it would be, I think it's mounted just down there. So we once thought we could build a modern stereo decoder to fit these, because it is a plug-in item. There's a B9A valve socket where it plugs in just there, and the trouble is we could make a decoder, and I mean, how much are these worth? This is the problem, you know, you spend 90 quid on an overhaul, then you build a decoder which you want 30 quid for, and it's taking you hours, and you're earning less than minimum wage, and nobody's going to have it, because what was the point? So there you go. So 2411 is this one, mono, 2412 the stereo radio. Okay, so we've changed all the capacitors, all the electrolytics. You can see there's the new big blue one under there. We've put the chassis back together. It's positive ground on these, and if I tilt that, these are the most difficult ones to get to. That's vital. Power supply's down there. We'll have to set that up, and there's one on this board, and then can we show underneath? Not really, I'll have to do that later. Anyway, so you're able to put the cabinet on its back, and there's enough lead to connect the speakers and the record deck pickup, which is a clever idea. We've got it plugged into the mains, and it's time to switch on. Now, remember that stereo transmission will not do anything because it's not the model with the decoder. It should light up on this side. There's a pilot lamp for that, and it's on off, bass, treble, balance, volume, so make sure that's at minimum. We'll switch it, we'll start off with it in FM mode, which is of course the radio. So we're powered up. Bit of cleaning probably on that. So these are going to have, we have to have the front panel off this because it's all gummed up. So I don't know whether the AFC is on or off. It really needs to be off. So let's go for the first preset. Remember, we're in a very poor reception area. They're electronic tuning, if I didn't say that earlier. It's varicap. Won't move. That'll do. That's it's Classic FM from Manchester. So remember, it's a mono radio, but it's going to be equally across each channel. So balance to the left. I'm going to listen to make sure the tweeter's working, because the woofers are at the side. Yeah, I'll go to the right hand channel. And as I walk around the building, Yep, the tweet is working. Because you've got crossover capacitors which can fail. So that's fine, that's working. So I've got my trusty cassette deck plugged in, and we'll switch to auxiliary and that should connect when we come off the leader. And then we need to check the pickup, which should probably be knackered. Auxiliary is tape. Or a Wally. Auxiliary is the 3.5mm one. I've only got left-hand channel at the moment for some reason.
That's rather quiet.
It is, isn't it?
Compared to the radio.
It's quiet on one channel, and that might be a genuine problem.
Connections on the DIN connector. Is it those ones
Turn the volume.
Made any difference? No?
Let's see what we're expecting. Let's put the volume pretty high up. Left. Nothing. Left. That's right. It's definitely, well, it's coming through. That's perfect. That's perfect. It must have not been in right. Yeah, they're only tin, aren't they? Let's have a look at the tone controls. There are electronic tone controls on this, so they are active, they're not just a few capacitors. They want spraying. So let's go to Graham. Can you go and press the, go and touch the start and see if it's working on both channels? So.
Yep, that's coming
Actually,
through both.
Yeah. Yeah, it's coming through both. So it looks like we've got a cartridge that works as well. So there we go. So the next thing to do is I'll get this. I need to set up the voltage as per the service manual. So this is the HMV Stereomaster 2411 and 2412. So this is the supplement in the radio and television servicing book for the Stereomaster version, because it's in fact unit audio 3425, tuner amplifier 3413. That's what this chassis is. So the main service information is for that. All we've got to check is the setting up the power supply. We've got a preset there.
Just.
I mean, I know that you could say, well, the fact it works should be enough, but it isn't the case.
Just the back of the PCB.
So I'll be looking at that, and we'll come back to this another day, because we've run out of time today. Right, I'm going to bring this to a close. We'll have this as a part one on the HMV 2412 Stereomaster from about 1973, 71, 73, somewhere around there. I've got the turntable to do. That is seized. That should be straightforward. Lubrication. We've got this front panel to take off, and all this needs cleaning out. We need to put switch cleaner on the potentiometers and some of the buttons on the button bank. So they're the kind of things. That's why I'm not putting that back in the case until I've done that. So there we go. I wonder when that last played. It certainly sounds great. So thanks for watching part one of the HMV Stereomaster 2411.